Europe is rearming at a speed and scale not seen in decades, and three countries are at the center of this shift: Germany, Poland, and the United Kingdom. By 2035, they aim to field the strongest, biggest, and most technologically advanced forces in Europe, while using defense spending as an engine of economic growth. In this video, we'll break down how Germany plans to spend around 377 billion euros to build what it openly calls the strongest conventional army in Europe. Poland is turning itself into NATO's main land power, with defense spending above 4% of GDP and a target of 300,000 troops. The UK is pouring tens of billions of pounds into defense and aims to lift spending toward 2.6 to 3% of GDP by the next decade. We'll also look at what this means for ordinary citizens: higher taxes, less social spending, and the growing risk that Europe is preparing for a major confrontation instead of a negotiated peace. Welcome to Global Affairs with Rose, where we break down world events that shape your future. Let's get into it. Germany has quietly drafted a 39-page procurement blueprint worth about 377 billion euros to overhaul its armed forces up to roughly 2035. The goal is straightforward: turn the Bundeswehr into Europe's leading conventional army, with hundreds of new projects across land, air, sea, space, and cyber. Around 320 procurement projects are planned, with nearly half already linked to specific contractors, most of them German companies. Major defense firms like Rheinmetall and Diehl Defense are set to receive tens of billions in orders for armored vehicles, artillery, and advanced air defense systems. The plan goes far beyond tanks and jets. Berlin wants new satellite constellations and space-based capabilities as part of a 35 billion euro push into the orbital and cyber domains. Germany has effectively loosened its constitutional debt brake for defense, carving military spending out of the old fiscal limits. That makes it possible to lock in long-term arms contracts, while other areas, like social programs, come under pressure when budgets are tight. Poland has moved from the edge of European military debates to the center of NATO's land strategy in the east. Its defense budget has risen sharply over the past decade, reaching more than 4% of GDP, one of the highest shares in the alliance. Warsaw aims to build a force of around 300,000 personnel by the mid-2030s, which would make it the largest army in the European Union. Poland is buying large quantities of tanks, artillery systems, and aircraft from both European and non-European suppliers, and it is central to new military mobility corridors meant to move NATO forces quickly across the continent. This buildup is driven by a long and tense history with Russia, and by intelligence assessments that Russia may be able to launch a broader conflict in Europe by around 2030 if the war in Ukraine escalates or spreads. Poland, as the emerging frontline heavyweight of Europe, a country that wants security guarantees but is also determined to be a security provider, not just a consumer. The United Kingdom is taking a different but complementary path. It wants to become a major defense industrial power while raising its military spending. London has committed to increase defense outlays to around 2.5 to 2.6% of GDP by 2027, with an ambition to move toward roughly 3% in the following years, depending on economic conditions. The government has announced tens of billions of pounds in additional defense funding over the next several years, calling it the biggest sustained increase since the Cold War. Part of the plan is to use defense orders to support domestic industry, create jobs, and boost advanced manufacturing, turning the arms sector into a pillar of economic policy. At the same time, tax changes and spending choices suggest that ordinary citizens may shoulder more of the fiscal burden, while companies closely connected to the military sector benefit from long-term contracts. I can say that Germany, Poland, and the UK are jointly reshaping the military balance inside Europe. Germany wants to be the strongest conventional power, Poland aims to have the largest army in the EU, and Britain wants to lead in innovation and industrial capacity. Then, bring in the consequences. At the EU level, institutions are promoting rearmament plans and joint defense projects, while talking less about large-scale peace-building initiatives. Budgets are being rewritten so that more public money flows to armies, arms manufacturers, and infrastructure to move troops, which can mean less room for social spending in areas like health, welfare, or education when governments face deficits. For citizens, this combination can translate into higher taxes, cuts in services, and a political climate where questioning militarization is often portrayed as naive or disloyal. Military logic dominates and diplomacy remains weak. Europe could be sleepwalking toward a more unstable era, including the risk of a broader or even nuclear confrontation if crises escalate. The world is changing fast, but rearmament comes with a price. Are Germany, Poland, and the UK preparing Europe to stay safe? Or preparing it for the next big war? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want more clear analysis like this, subscribe to Global Affairs with Rose and stay informed about the geopolitics that shape your world. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.